Manchester United's get-out option for Jadon Sancho, Ruben Amorim's biggest fear going into pre-season next week. Ollie, Watkins wants Manchester United. Antony, half gone. Wages and transfer fee. I'll explain that one as well. Update on Marcus Rashford. Manchester United striker options out there running out. And here's a question straight out of the box for all of you to get into. Are Manchester United being careful, or are they running too scared when it comes to making a decision on the striker? This is Forever United TV. Welcome along, everybody. We are on the 2nd of July. We have 5 days to go to get Bryan Mbeumo done. I've got all of the Manchester United updates here for you on Forever United TV. Welcome along. If you are live, get into the live comment section. If not, and you still want to have your say, get into the comments after the live is finished, please, and give me your thoughts on all of these topics, because there's quite a lot to get through this morning for Manchester United, mainly on the outgoing side of things, but obviously we want to talk about the updates on the incomings. That would be Mbeumo and Watkins and what's been said overnight and this morning on both of them players. But getting straight into the show with Jadon Sancho and the situation where we're at. Now, we know from the start of this week, last 2 days, Manchester United have continued talking with Juventus, trying to find a way around this deal. Now, I will come on to Jonathan David signing for Juventus. That deal done. Another striker out of the way, like I just alluded to. Another one off Manchester United's list of potentials coming in. So, what does that mean for Manchester United and this negotiation situation with Jadon Sancho right now? They're looking to shift off 3 players and use all of them, or maybe 1 or 2 in a make weight for Jadon Sancho. Now, what Juventus have on offer for Manchester United in this, and the story is that they have offered all 3 of these players to Manchester United to subsidise the wages of Jadon Sancho, i.e. United want 25 million, Juventus are happy with that, but can't get a deal with Jadon Sancho's wages and his demands for personal terms. So Juventus, in trying to counter that, have offered Manchester United a player to bring that transfer fee down for Jadon Sancho to then help pay the wages for the player. So kind of take a transfer fee away a little bit so they can afford more on the wages, bring the whole package in. Remember, it's all about financial fair play and what you're paying for the player overall with transfer fees and wages each year. So the players on offer from Juventus for Manchester United, we know 2 of them already, which is Dusan Vlahovic up front, Douglas Luiz in midfield, and the third one is Timothy Weah. A versatile right wing-back, left wing-back, has played at centre-forward this season as well. Has actually featured in plus 40 games for Juventus this season. So not a make-weight, but someone who has done okay and has got 11 goal contributions throughout the season as well. So think about that for a minute there. Juventus definitely know Manchester United's situation. Striker, central midfielder, right wing-back. 3 key positions that everybody going around Manchester United or reporting on Manchester United knows we desperately need. So I think Juventus playing a card here with this one. Vlahovic, Douglas Luiz or Timothy Weah. I mean, get into the comment section there. If you were to get rid of Jadon Sancho and bring a player in right now, which one of them would you go for? If it meant definitely getting Sancho out of the door. Ruben wants things done this week. He wants action. He wants players out. He wants players in. He definitely needs Mbeumo, which we'll talk about in a minute. But getting Sancho out of the door and making something happen here, or even going to that next stage where you know something's happening and Jadon Sancho doesn't have to turn up to training because he's going to Turin to negotiate. That would be a big move and a big step forward for Manchester United. Would appease quite a bit of the fan base as well, because let's be honest, nothing really has happened yet in terms of moving players on. Now remember, Ruben Amorim even has said that he wants these players out of the way. He doesn't want to be left with a situation where he's got the likes of Sancho, Rashford, Antony, Garnacho, all of these players that he doesn't want at the football club rolling back into Carrington next week. It's a nightmare scenario for him. And to actually get at least one of these players out of the door would be absolutely huge for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. That being Jadon Sancho. It is also being said, and I will talk about Antony in a minute, being close to the exit door also. But let's get onto Jadon Sancho and these 3 players at Juventus that United could use. I can see a lot of you going right in on the striker one. Vlahovic all day long is the majority that I can see popping up on the live stream right now. Don't forget, comment below in terms of the player that you would take out of Juventus. So for instance, Manchester United could do a straight swap with Vlahovic or Douglas Luiz. They're all about the same valuation. Timothy Weah, the He's a versatile player. He's played in 7 different positions this season for Juventus. For God's sake, if Ruben wants a versatile player, then he's got one there. I don't really rate him. I'm going to be quite honest right now and just be blunt with this one. It's between Douglas Luiz and Vlahovic. I get the fact that Timothy Weah can play all over the park. He's not worth as much. He's got a big contract still at Juventus. I think he runs out at 2028. So it shows you where Juventus are at right now. I feel like he has just been brought in, like I said before, because they know that United are looking for that type of player. United won't buy Timothy Weah. I'd be absolutely astounded if they buy Timothy Weah. It's not a player that they're looking for. And that, for me, is just somebody who's going to be used like other players we've got in the club already. I mean, we don't need right wing-back cover. He's not going to be a definite starter for us there. We don't need left wing-back cover. We've got Diego Leon, Amas and Dorgu there. We don't need a striker who's played 3 games up front like him. He's not good enough for that position. Right wingers, Mbeumo, Cunha. We don't even play wingers. We play 10s who split off. So there's no actual need for him to come in. If you're going to buy a right wing-back at United, it's going to be a top player. Because you've got Ahmad, you've got Dalot. And neither of them are going anywhere this summer. I think we can safely say that with all the other work that United need to get done, they're safe. So no need for a right wing back, no need for a left wing back. The 10s play differently, and we've got 2 quality ones coming in that already, in Mbeumo and Cunha. Timothy Weah, that's him gone. Moving on to Douglas Luiz and Dusan Vlahovic for Manchester United. Right, okay. Fully right now, with the situation as it is at Juventus, I expect them to push more onto Dusan Vlahovic, trying to get rid of him. He's on the bigger wage, and they have just signed, obviously, Jonathan David from Lille. The free agents, Romano has broke the news early this morning, that Jonathan David, here we go, to Juventus. We were saying this a while ago on the channel. I knew that Juventus were going to sign Jonathan David. I said it, and this is why they're pushing Vlahovic to the exit door. They have exited the Club World Cup as well after being beaten by Real Madrid. So that is now clear, and Juventus looking to push on with all of their business now that the new financial year is open. Expect something to start moving, and maybe Juventus are starting to push more on trying to get this through and over the line. Maybe United, if we are that desperate to get Sancho out and there is nobody else in for him, and you want to make the most out of this deal, United are going to have to come down to some form of agreement from their side to make this happen, because Juventus could easily just walk away at this point, and United know this. We would then be stranded. There is an opportunity here for United to actually get a player in that isn't really going to cost us more than what we're actually paying out at the moment. If you get Vlahovic in, for instance, then you're looking there, I feel, at somebody coming in who is going to feature for Manchester United, has shown already in the Club World Cup against Manchester City and this season, 20-plus goal involvements consistently as well in numbers that he's putting up over in Italy. I think that for right now, because I don't see anything happening with Gyökeres. I can't see that deal happening. After what Romano said, I've left Gyökeres now. Look, the stories will be there, and the speculation will continue, and we'll cover it, of course, here on Forever United TV. My own personal opinion right now is that United, if we're not going to buy a striker, if we're not going to spend a lot on a striker, then it's going to have to be a player that I think is going to do a job for us that is still of decent quality. You can then bring in the Watkins situation to this as well, which is what we're going to talk about after this as well, that Manchester United may pursue that towards the back end of the window. So does that then push us into Douglas Luiz, the most obvious, the one proven player that Juventus have got for United in a position that United do need to improve in. Years on his side still, obviously just turning 27, and I said it then, the proven quality that United are clearly going for. If you're going for Watkins, then Douglas Luiz, again, I'm not saying this because all these players have played together before, but remember what we were saying last night. You've got the Ryan Mbeumo and Ollie Watkins togetherness side of things. Players who know the Premier League and know the opposition well. You'll have Douglas Luiz and Ollie Watkins who've played together. Look, it's fairy tale stuff and it's far down the line. I really don't give a toss about it, but you have to look at the approach from Manchester United, and the fact that Ollie Watkins' name has even come up tells you exactly where Manchester United's priority is. It's the understanding of the Premier League and players that they know they can fully rely on this season coming. There is an opportunity with the unrest at Juventus to bring in Douglas Luiz. At the moment, if there's any of them free, I'm pushing towards Douglas Luiz out of it for everything that I've just explained, because I think United don't want to get Vlahovic, they want to get Ollie Watkins. And Ollie Watkins, according to the sources, and we're talking about this next, actually wants to come to Manchester United. But on the first three players from Juventus and our first topic, I want to get into the comment section first of all on this before we move on to Watkins. So let's get into a couple of the chats. First of all, we're not scared, Adam. We need to sell world-class striker next window, says Mane. Super chat from him. Thank you, Mane, you legend. I want to hear 75,000 people shout, Timmy. Timmy! No, mate, we don't. But I get the joke. Your South Park reference there, quite clear. Good one, Ant. You're on form there with that. I'll give you that one. Timmy! That's going to just ring in my head now for the rest of this show. You swine, honestly. I bulked at Watkins at first, but on reflection can see the absolute sense of it. A three-pronged, Prem-proven offensive threat. Yeah, I get it, Steve. You bang on. I think a lot of people have warmed to it. Now, I've said this before. You can convince yourself that the player's right. We're that desperate. We look at it and we convince ourselves that that player will do a job for United. I can see him doing this next season. Because you've not watched football and watched these players play week in, week out, your mind switches across to, but he could do, and he can do. And I think this season is the season, and you start to convince yourself, but Watkins consistently gets Premier League goals every single season. And this is why Watkins is different. And what Steve said there in the comment section is right. You do tend to go 29, not good enough. But if you get 3 good years out of Watkins, with Chido coming in behind him, then getting United into the Champions League or Europe next season, Watkins, that pays for that deal. And it gives time for the likes of Chido to properly develop as a player. Because right now we're talking about a 17-year-old coming in ahead of a 22-year-old who's absolutely useless in Rasmus Højlund. That's not right. Get someone in who's just going to do a job there for you, guaranteed for 2 years in the Premier League, consistently performing like he has done throughout his Premier League career. That there is a no-brainer for me at the right price, and that's why United are looking at him. I think they're looking, and in their plans, and obviously United have made a big push for younger players to come in, Chido being one of them. Obviously, you've got Diego Leon, you've got Sekou Kone, you've also got the likes of, who was I just thinking about then? Aiden Heaven coming through as well. Look, the chance for these players to not be thrust into the limelight and develop is massive for Manchester United. It really is. Let's get some more comments in on this. And that's what I mean by actually having players there that are ready to go now. It just gives them the chance to not have any pressure put on them when they come in. Like Manchester United right now. And when I said at the top of the show, are we scared? Are we being too careful? Like Ruben says, we don't want to make the same mistakes we've made. What's the worst case scenario? What's the lesser of the evils? Buy no striker because they don't want to buy another dud, or leaving Manchester United with no other option but Rasmus Højlund right now as a number 9, hoping that the 10s can actually do a job for us. What's worse? Honestly, I'm buying a striker. You need that striker in there. I can see the shout for him and mixing it up in rotation, but if you can get Ollie Watkins in that three-prong attack, like Steve just said there in the comment section, and many other people have said in the comments as well, and have come around to it, then you've got to go for it. You've got to make that happen. You have to make that happen at Manchester United right now, and I think it gives us the best chance to develop. Let's see. Luis on swap deal as he's Premier League proven. Vlahovic later as they'll be desperate to sell, having got David. Juventus need rid of big wages and will be clear on other striker options too. I think the striker options for Manchester United are dwindling down. Jonathan David. I made a list here in front of me. That's David, Osimhen, Delap, Gyökeres, all gone. Now, that's 4 big strikers that United have been linked with before the transfer window opened. All gone for me, because we're not buying Osimhen and we're not getting Gyökeres. Again, reverse psychology, maybe Gyökeres comes back around later in the window and we do buy him, but I can't see it. From what we said yesterday, it was the biggest Manchester United and closest Manchester United statement you could ever get to. We're not going to spend money on someone like Gyökeres. We're just trying to stay away from that drama, I think, Manchester United at the moment. So, yeah, Gyökeres is a big no, but then players all gone. Maybe Juventus do get a bit panicky later on in the window. Vlahovic hasn't left. United might not get Ollie Watkins because Villa want too much and we can't make that deal happen. And they might go back in for Vlahovic later in the window. I fully expect United striker to arrive in August. I don't expect Man United to be buying anybody for the striker role this July. I don't see it this month. But look, the rumours and the work going into that striker will obviously be talked about, and we will know. I don't think United will be registering that striker until they are very, very confident that they have shifted out certain players, which we're going to talk about as well in this. But Jadon Sancho's opportunity to leave is there for Manchester United. Do we grasp this with two hands, get a player out that is going to give us nothing, and we're going to lose him for now at the end of the season if we loan him? Or do we take the loan and do that? Or do we actually look at this now and go, right, okay, what we need to do is get someone in who we can use in Douglas Luiz, who is proven. Casemiro leaves in the summer, and you still need another midfielder next summer. Casemiro leaves, and then you still need another midfielder next window, which you will hopefully have progressed in the Premier League. Fingers crossed, bleeding hell, come on. And then have a bit more money to spend on a proper midfielder like a Wharton. No one buys Adam Wharton this summer. We get Luiz, then we bring Adam Wharton in next summer if United do actually progress. And that's on Ruben, like we've said before, to get United back up that Premier League table. There's no excuse not to be challenging for Champions League places for Man United. I'm not saying we're going to get it, but we at least need to be challenging and taking a minimum of Europa League next season. That gives United the room, I think, to go out and spend on a proper midfielder next summer. And with nearly £600,000 a week wages off the wage bill in Harry Maguire and Casemiro next summer, there is more than enough room for Manchester United to make that happen. So that, I think, is huge. And let's not forget, squad ratio rule kicks in next summer. So United are ahead of everybody. If we get this season right and we're up there, United are ahead of everyone regarding financial fair play and PSR, because our squad ratio to wage rule that we have got at the moment at this football club is third lowest in the Premier League. That's revenue to wages. How much of our revenue do we spend on wages? That ratio, United are in the relegation zone. We're nowhere near the top. And that PSR rule is kicking in next summer. So get this summer right. Get the players out that we need to get out on the big wages that we're talking about, at make-weight deals, and start to build something on the pitch that Ruben can work with. It's up to him, yes, to get this season right and get us back up there. But if we do, just put players in like Luiz in them positions and get the right players in just to balance out this team to work in a Ruben system and get up there in the league. Next summer, United have got loads of opportunities, and it opens up a completely different window for us. So I think it's the sensible decisions that Man United can make to help this season, because this season is huge. It's our last chance, I think, to actually get ourselves back on that upward trajectory and get up the table, because no Champions League football, no European football whatsoever, with a decent team that is going to attack the Premier League, with proven players coming in, with what we've already got there, I think it's a no-brainer. Go out and just get the necessaries, and then next window we can really improve. I don't think United are going to overspend in terms of wages on someone like Douglas Luiz either. I think we've got a sensible sort of structure in place right now, and he's going to jump at the chance. He's going to be on more than what he was at Juventus, because he's only on, 82 grand a week. He's probably going to be on, 100, 110 or something like that for United, which is more than in line with what our structure is right now. Douglas Luiz for Sancho. Let's move on to Watkins quickly. Let's get some super chats in. Watkins will want a big bucks, a last contract feasible. Big bucks, but then, like you said, there's big bucks and then there's big bucks. No one else is going to pay Watkins what he wants anywhere. So he's going to have to take something under 200 grand a week. It's as simple as that. And I think he would take that. I think United would offer him that. Marcus, good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for that super chat. So kind. Really big super chat there as well, mate. Really appreciate that. Ross with another mega chat as well. If I'm United, I go through the Luiz contract with a fine tooth comb. Could sell Sancho for 25 mil, get a player at a position we need, pay him a bit more than we want, but it saves us a transfer fee. This is the problem with Jadon Sancho, Ross. On that, I get what you're saying. I would like to sell him for 25 and go and buy our own player. I would take Paulinho. But Manchester United are up against Jadon Sancho not moving because of these wages. And this is the only reason this story is doing the rounds, is because Manchester United cannot get a deal with Juventus unless Sancho is on board with the wages. If Juventus are going to pay Sancho more wages, they want Manchester United to bring that transfer fee down. But if they get rid of a player and they're not paying a transfer fee, and then they can afford Jadon Sancho, that's how that deal works. Liz says, I'd love Watkins, but didn't he start becoming injury prone? From what I remember, he didn't start a lot of last season, didn't he? More off the bench games. That was because Rashford turned in the second half of the season, Les, and that is why he kicked off and why there's possibly an opportunity for Watkins to leave Villa. Disgruntled and was put on the bench because Rashford was there. Every time he came on, he made an impact. He scored goals, and he was still being dropped by Unai Emery. So maybe United jump onto that as an opportunity, and that's why this conversation has started. So I don't know. It's not through injury. It was just through him not being picked by Unai Emery. You could look at that and say, is there a problem in the character there? But if you are their leading goal scorer for 3 seasons in a row, and then Rashford comes in because it's the Rashford name, who hasn't done anything at Manchester United and starts ahead of you, then you're going to get a little bit disgruntled. And he was coming off the bench and he was scoring goals and winning games for Aston Villa. So no, I'm still all over Ollie Watkins. Thank you already for all of the likes, everybody. Absolutely loving that. We're creeping up to the 300 mark already. Let's see if we can hit that 5 mark again. Hit that subscribe button also if you want to stay up to date with Manchester United news. I've got you covered with all of the content daily. Thank you again to everybody who already has done. We are growing, almost at the 90k we want to be before the start of the season. Be interesting to see how many subscribers we've actually got when the season starts now. How close we might actually be to there. I don't want to say it, I don't want to shout it out, but that 100k mark would be absolutely epic, honestly. Mega. But let's get into some more comments before we move forward. Why don't you think other teams can make sales, but we cannot? Why do you think other teams can make sales, but we cannot? Other teams have players on long-term contracts and big wages and make sales as normal. No, they don't, RK. And no, they don't have big contracts. Which teams out there have a situation where you have got Jadon Sancho, Antony, and Marcus Rashford, 3 of the highest earning players at the football club, because of mismanagement beforehand, actually the biggest earners doing nothing for us? Name me a club that has that many players that are not featuring that are on that much money. None of them is the answer to that question. So no, RK, other teams don't get sales done for players on big earning wages because them teams have actually got players playing for them that are on big earning wages, and that's why it's easier to sell them. If you are a club coming into Manchester United right now and you see these players not playing for you, not playing for United, you're not going to give United what they want. You're going to say, hang on a minute, you're desperate to get rid of this player, so why am I going to give you what you want? Why am I going to go anywhere near them wages and make this sale happen for United? I said this before. Everybody knows United have screwed up and they are kicking United while they are down. This is why we're having to work overtime on Bryan Mbeumo. This is the opportunity for other clubs to actually have a go at United and keep us where we are, which is just down there in the wilderness in the bottom half of the table. That is going to continue as long as clubs can actually take a piece out of Manchester United, and they all are. Bryan Mbeumo's situation is, like we said last night, Ruben Amorim, 5 days to go. They want him over the line. They need to. And today actually might be a big day for Manchester United. A lot of the people talking last night around this deal online were talking about something maybe happening yesterday or today. It's a massive day for Manchester United. They need to get this one done this week. Everything is ready. Everything that was said is there and is real. Manchester United have got a pre-medical booked in. It's ready to go for Bryan Mbeumo. It is just a case now of Manchester United finalising that deal with Brentford. Like we said last night, United can actually pay that little bit more money if they want. They're ready to go, but they're going to go and string it along as long as they can to try and get a better deal out of Brentford. Brentford will feel like they've got a win out of this because I think United will end up paying about 65 million for Bryan Mbeumo. It's a fair price. It's a fair price. I'll start getting annoyed with United if we haven't got this deal done for Ruben by next week. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking, and United need this deal over the line. They need to start moving forward with this now. The pressure is on. The frustration, like we said last night, is growing on Mbeumo, and I think Manchester United know it. And all of the noises and everything that I've said, the same people have even messaged people that have said that this deal is pretty much done. And they're all saying the same thing. It's all ready to go. It's just a case of finalising them add-ons and he's a United player. Everyone is saying the same thing. It's just frustrating because we know that next week the players are back. And for Ruben's sake, and that big speech that he made, good times are coming. You'll be lucky to find another club. You better pray you find another club to Garnacho. All of that, nothing has changed. All the players are still there. And nobody else is coming apart from Cunha. Get Mbeumo in at least, just to actually appease this fan base. And Sancho possibly out the door. Maybe Anthony we're going to move on to in a minute. But it needs to get moving along, this deal now. It really does. Is that how ironic? If we get Watkins and we also have to keep Rashford, then Watkins benches Rashford. I would love that. Loving the content, mate. I like the scenario, mate. But I would prefer Rashford to be out of the bleeding door, to be honest, Block. But yeah, great comment, mate. Thanks for the super chat. That one actually does make you laugh, doesn't it, when you think about it? That would be the biggest, the biggest turnaround, wouldn't it, in terms of one end of the season to the start of the next, and the complete opposite happening between both of the same players. I would love that to happen as well, but we have got an update on Rashford actually coming up as well. On the Ollie Watkins one quickly, by the way, the reports are genuine. Sky were talking about it in depth last night as well. There is an opportunity there because there is unrest with Unai Emery and Ollie Watkins from last season. And he is up for a move to Manchester United. He wants Manchester United now. It just depends how much United want to spend on him. Because that's why we spoke about Vlahovic earlier on in the show. Manchester United realistically don't want to spend more than 40 million on Ollie Watkins. Aston Villa are going to want more out of that deal. They are. I don't know who they're going to bring in. You heard Ali McCoy's talking yesterday. Ali talking about why would Aston Villa sell Ollie Watkins at this point? Why would they do that? This, again, is if I was a Villa fan, would be what I would be asking, like, what the hell are you doing? Who is going to come in? PSR situation aside, like, who are you going to put up there? Like, I get it. Like, they could go out and get another striker that is going to do a job for him. I don't know who that would be, but there is somebody probably cheaper. Maybe they could loan a striker in just to sit, but they are literally on the brink of PSR, like, that threshold, and it is going to be a close one for them. Watkins, 29. Is there a future in him? No. Maybe they're looking at Watkins and selling him because he's 29 and they can get out with this. Maybe bring a younger striker in or loan a striker for this season and then go again the next transfer window. But honestly, right now, they are in a tough old spot. They don't want to sell the younger players, but they want to get rid of somebody, Martinez or Watkins, of the older type of player, just to appease the PSR rulings and everything like that, just to get that through and get that over the line. Because they are literally on the brink of hitting that point deduction like Everton did. It's close. It's very close on that. Watkins wants to move. He's up for it. Villa are open to a deal happening on this one. He's very, very clear on that. Again, it is going to come down to the last knockings of the window and how much money Manchester United have got and how much money they're willing to spend on the striker. Does Watkins make the difference for making Champions League? Is going to be the decision. If we can get him in before the start of the season, great. If it's by the end of the window, great. No problem there. Will he make a difference? You're damn right he'll make a difference. And that's up for Manchester United to make a decision on now. Are we going to let Ruben Amorim see out the season without a number 9 because we've got 2 10s in there, we've got goals in us? Are we taking the easy way out, basically? Like I said, take that risk. Do what United have always done. When it's a proven player, it's worth the investment. That's what Manchester United... So, if, for instance, we paid 45 million for Watkins, too much probably. And then you got a deal in where Sancho's gone, Douglas Luiz is coming. So Manchester United right now in a situation where we could easily have Douglas Luiz and Ollie Watkins in our side. We've got Douglas Luiz, you've got Bruno Fernandes, you've then got your Cunha, your Mbeumo, your Watkins. You have got 5 players in your front line there, midfield. Then you go to Ahmad, also proven in the Prem. Like, I mean, come on. That is night and day from what Manchester United were last season. Luiz, Bruno, Watkins, Mbeumo and Cunha. Come on. Like, that there is enough to challenge for Champions League. With that defence that we've got behind them, the wing-back situation, you could then put all your efforts into moving the keepers around, salvaging what you can financially, and getting a goalkeeper in. And then you're done for the season. That's it. You've literally changed half of your starting lineup in one transfer window, which is unheard of at Manchester United. And all of a sudden, from the brink of despair and nothing looking like it's happening, game on, season, let's go. All of that, completely doable. Manchester United spending another 45 million this summer off the back of Mbeumo being confirmed is more than doable, because that's all it's going to take. 45 million for Watkins. Too much, I know, but I just can't see Villa letting United off here easily. Douglas Luiz in the swap for Sancho. I know we're playing FIFA a little bit there, but is that not doable? It's right there in front of us right now with Juventus offering what they have got there. We're taking Jonathan David in and needing to make room. Douglas Luiz comes in. You've got the rotation of Ugarte, Bruno, Casemiro and Luiz. You can't get through a Premier League season with that. And then you've got to question Ruben Amorim as a coach, which we will be doing if he doesn't make it work. But come on. And then you've got Watkins backed up by Højlund and Chidoabe. This right now, with room to still spend next summer after that, make it happen, United. Let's not use excuses. Let's just get to business and get things moving. That, I think, is a completely different Man United side that will challenge for the Champions League next season. I'm telling you right now, if we could make that happen, we're literally spending another 45 million this summer, and that's it. Close the books. You've got centre midfielder, centre forward, 2 10s, bang, bang. Then you make a decision on your goalkeeper later on. If Anana stays and someone else comes in and he's still there, look, you've got Bayender who's going to go. You've got the situation to make with Vitek coming back in. Maybe he could be the number 2 and Bayender goes and you don't spend nothing on a goalkeeper. But Vitek will challenge Anana going into next season, and maybe that's the way United push Anana out. Maybe we've already got the answer in the goalkeeper. And you tell me that that is not a complete transformation, with the likes of Dorgu having his next season, Leon coming in as well, Ahmad and Dallo and all of the younger players that we've got at our disposal coming through the ranks as well. You've got more than enough cover at the back in centre-backs. Am I not making a great case here for Manchester United doing a lot better next season? I mean, come on. Manny with a super chat says, Adam, would you give Vitek a go? I didn't even see that super chat there, but then you go. Yeah, that could be the case. Would you give Vitek a go? I would. We don't have the money, mate, without selling the parts, without selling the prats. There you go. It's a simple situation. So it's not. It's an awkward situation with a simple solution, sorry. And it's there right in front of us right now. Rashford took Watkins' place at Villa, so why buy Watkins at more than what we can sell Rashford for? Because Watkins is a better player. Unai Emery has obviously got an issue with Ollie Watkins. I'm sorry, Rashford is not a 9. Look at the essential stuff right now, I think, is what United need to do. Rashford isn't going to contribute to Man United. Will Watkins contribute better to Man United than Marcus Rashford? Of course he was. I just think, get him in. I think Manchester United have a completely different dynamic them all together. So, yeah, that's my stance on that one anyway. Moving on to the other situation with Antony as the outgoing. Now, the Athletic were talking yesterday, and I was like baffled by this. I've obviously done the detail of what Betis want to offer for Antony in taking him now for 20 million. And then next season, the other 20 million starting in instalments just to spread the cost out. So 20 million for Man United this summer, and then they own 50% of him. If they sell him on, they take a big chunk of that sell on, but if they keep him again for the next season, the 26-27 season, they pay another 20 million, which starts in installments over a certain amount of time. But now it's a case of half the price for half the ownership, and you still paying, I'm guessing, half the wage or a big chunk of the wages, because the Athletic are saying that Manchester United could sell Antony permanently and still be contributing to his wages. Dual ownership of a player. Something I've never heard of, but apparently is common in La Liga. And this is how so La Liga have their own PSR. Man United, so the Premier League has PSR. UEFA have financial fair play. Everyone abides by that who's in the UEFA competition, i.e. UEFA League, Conference or the Champions League. And each league has its own regulations and obviously own rules on financial fair play, like United do with PSR with the Premier League. Betis' rule is difficult for them with the La Liga and what they have to rules they have to abide by. So they have got around deals before and have done this by the dual ownership model. Antony out of the door, gone, money in the bank, but still paying for his wages. To nutshell it, that's basically what it is. That's the deal. But United have a massive sell-on if Antony does go. But Betis are still trickling the bits of money into United for Antony. Like, they will own more of him next summer when they pay a little bit more. But at the moment, it's a 50. United's valuation is 40 for Antony. That's right. That's fair. If Betis pay half of that this summer, then United own half the player. I don't know if it's going to be half of them paying the wages and whatnot. Maybe Antony's happy to drop his wages down. So I'm trying to think about how this deal actually happens. Antony's on 200 grand a week right now. United won't want to pay 100 grand a week wages for Antony to dual own him with Betis. But Antony has said that he'll take a 30% pay cut, which then brings him down to in and around the £140,000 a week mark. Does that then mean that Manchester United then help Betis out by paying half of that, which is like 70 grand a week, while still getting money in to spend, paying Antony's wages still as a dual ownership model? You get where I'm going with it? This is how it's sort of calculated in my head, and this is why this deal is so complex. But the Athletic are actually saying that Antony is close to the exit door because of this creative transfer that's being drawn up between Betis and Manchester United. Meanwhile, you've got Como FC who are just going to pay outright for Antony, and United don't have anything to worry about. I don't understand why we're being so soft on Real Betis. Thanks, yeah. You got Antony's valuation up, but don't forget, United did Betis the favour here by giving them Antony. I don't understand why we're bending over backwards to try and help Real Betis out in this, because he had a half a season there. Look, yeah, he wants to go to Betis and he's willing to take a pay cut. That's great, and he's making the effort, so you'd give him the time to try and make a deal happen with Betis. But come on. There's only so far you can go before you have to say, shut up, no, we're just selling you. And you're going to go to Como, or you're going to go to Atletico Madrid, or wherever it is. Someone else will come in and be ready to buy Antony. His form is too good for La Liga, for other clubs not to be interested in him. And I just don't see a world in where Manchester United do this deal with Betis. But the Athletic are saying that this is a genuine, actual deal that could happen here. It's just confusing. It's really confusing in how this 50-50 sort of ownership thing works out. But it's been done before there, and maybe it's something that United will be open to, because Antony coming in, getting 20 million in the books, big chunk of that wage is gone. Like we said before, Alvaro Fernandez money coming in. You could have Anthony Elanga money coming in from them sell-on clauses. All of a sudden, it's starting to tot up. Sancho's off the books. He's gone. You've got Luis in. And then you're looking at maybe getting enough money together to go out and buy a striker. If you sell Garnacho, your quid's bleeding in, aren't you? But these little deals might give United a bit more room to negotiate better deals for other players in terms of selling them. Maybe they drop the price a bit on Garnacho because we've earned a bit of money back, or we've made sales that we didn't expect to make happen. Very, 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 very confusing in terms of everything that's going on. But a clear sign that Manchester United are willing, maybe I could use that word there, to negotiate creative deals just to get players off the books. I mean, honestly, I'm all for it if United know that this is going to give Ruben another couple of players this summer to work with on top of Bryan Mbeumo. I'm all for it, because it's about giving this manager what he needs this season forward. And if you're taking a little bit of a hit, you're being creative but still holding on to a bit of value with these sell-ons as well, I get it. It's where United have lacked in many a transfer windows before with poor management. So, yeah, let's see if we can get something done. I'm all for that, as long as it gives Ruben the tools for this season. If it doesn't, what's the bleeding point? Is where I'm at with that one. But get your comments in on that. So let's get some more in before we move on to a couple of other stories we want to get into before the end of the show. Still plenty of time left yet, everybody. Let's get in on this. Nearly at 500 likes, by the way. And the subs are banging again. Cheers, everybody who has subbed already. Please like the video. I hate visions of owning half of Antony. It would have to be the left side as the right doesn't work. Good one there, Les. I like that one. Sorry, bro, you don't understand the deal. Do shut up. Oh, I'm sorry, Courage. Shut up. Back to you. And again, if you're going to have a go, don't come up with a stupid comment. I'll let everyone have their say here, even if you're trying to abuse me. But if you aren't going to add context to it, then do one, you absolute lemon. So just on that one there, I will just remove you there, my friend. You absolute numpty. Come on, I'd say, I'm not fair. If you're going to have a go, bring some context to it as well. That deal is how it's been described. And United have an option to be creative with this Antony deal that gets him out of the door. So let's see what United can do with it. We spent too much on Agate. Could have got a better player in a burger or for half the price. We are on the right track, but still a lot to learn. Slow process is what you're saying there. Definitely story on that one. Betis want Antony just like United wants Mbeumo. Get it sorted. So-called best in class. Stephanie's calling them out on that one. If we don't buy top players coming into their prime, wait for them or the circus will continue. Wait for them, but then they might be gone. That is the issue. Cricket, Ants, he's talking Ant here as well. Our midfield has been wide open in the past 3 seasons. I agree with that. Bigger holes in there than the side of the Titanic once the iceberg hit. A lot of people have brought up Man United's midfield as a big problem going forward, and it is. It's a massive problem for Ruben to fix because his system doesn't really cover that gaping hole. It leaves us open in the way he plays. So if he's going to bring a midfielder in, it has to be someone who understands the system and someone who understands the Premier League. You cannot just be bringing anybody into that midfield right now. And let's not forget, he didn't buy Agate. He's sold Agate before. Maybe he doesn't feel like Agate is the right player for Man United in that midfield. And maybe he is a problem for him going forward. Again, I'm not saying he was before at Sporting, but let's not forget, he was only happy to let him go to PSG when he was in charge of Sporting. So maybe he doesn't rate Manuel Agate. I think he clearly sees the issue in Manchester United's midfield, and I think he wants to get it sorted. But it has to be the right player. Is Douglas Luiz good enough, like we said at the start of the show? Is he the man to do this? See what else we've got in here quickly. Is income tax only 20% in Spain? It's more in it. Would make a huge difference to Antony's wages. Is it more or is it less? I can't actually remember now. I think it is actually less. You're right on that one, Stephen, I think. Yep, it is. That could actually be a good point to actually bring up on that in terms of Antony negotiating his personal terms anyway. Morning, Adam. Why do we suffer each transfer window? Always, it's the 3rd or 4th choice for us. And Mbeumo and Cunha weren't. They were first choices, and it looks like we've got them done. So I wouldn't say that just yet. And if Watkins comes in, well, then I feel that would be somewhere up there as in one of the first choice strikers, surely, wouldn't you? Let's just check my other comments quickly there. Right, we're all good on that one. Marcus Rashford, everybody. Bayern Munich. That story I did yesterday has actually gathered more legs over in the German media circles. That he has actually been scouted as an option for Bayern Munich. I made a big point about why this deal makes so much sense for Marcus Rashford to leave for Bayern Munich in the summer. I did that video yesterday lunchtime, so you could go watch that back for all of the detail on it. But just to up the actual ante on this and where we're actually at a day further forward is that Bild are now reporting it alongside Christian Folk and a couple of other media outlets. Bayern Munich with obviously Vincent Kompany in tow there as the manager and knowing what strength Rashford has, particularly working alongside the likes of Harry Kane before for England. Rashford with obviously Leroy Sané going, I could see Bayern Munich pushing the loan on this one. Now, there is talk that they could be open to buying Marcus Rashford. Look, I would love it, but I'm a realist, and I don't see it happening. Not in a million years to Bayern Munich, I don't feel, buy Rashford outright. No, look, I haven't got a problem with that. If you loan him and they're taking a big chunk of his wages and a bit of a loan fee, that's still all right for United to get done what we need to get done this summer, like I've just described. There is more than enough room in there. And then Rashford might actually be more valuable next season, like I said before. And I was going on about this on that video, that if you loan him, most of his wages are gone. That's massive saving for Manchester United. And like we said, next summer, Maguire and Casemiro are both gone and off the books. So even if Rashford comes back, you've still got the room to then sell him on again, because the wages that he's going to be taking back on again are covered by the likes of Casemiro and Maguire leaving. But then you've got 1 year left. 1 year less on Rashford's contract, and it might actually be easier for us to sell him next summer than this summer. So that's where I think there's a safe bet here for loaning Rashford out. United, I feel right now, just bite the bullet with Rashford and loan him and get him out the club now. Get that contract signed, onto a loan, see you later. You just got to hope that he stops digging his heels in with Barcelona. Now, Barca apparently have come in or are coming in with that first loan offer to Manchester United. And the question's going to be asked. Like Ruben, like we've said, his worst nightmare is Marcus Rashford rolling in next Monday to Carrington. And he's there, all right, boss, I'm back. And then, oh, look, who rolls up next to him 20 minutes later, late in his Ferrari? Jadon Sancho. And then he's like, oh, good God, how am I dealing with this? Oh, yeah, wait for it. Here comes the next one. Garnacho's here as well. Vroom, he brings in his Ferrari next to Sancho and Rashford's. Yes, boss, how you doing? The three amigos are back in town. Nightmare. So, yeah, accept where you are. Sancho, swap. Get it done. You're not going to make any money. Unless you can just loan him and accept the loan with Juventus, go for it. Go for another midfield target. But then again, are you going to get anyone else who's as good as proven as Douglas Luiz is? There could be, and there is. But have you got enough money off it, is what I'm saying, from just loaning Sancho to Juventus? Because you're accepting there that you're not going to make anything off Sancho ever again. It's just his wages that you've saved and maybe a tiny loan fee. So maybe swap him and get a player in and actually get rid of a player. And the player coming in is going to be on less wages, so you're actually saving money but bringing a player in at the same time. And then the fans will be thinking, oh, we are being creative. Except that Marcus Rashford is going to go on loan this summer. Get the deal done. And then you can work on Garnacho and then properly negotiate a deal for him. Because I don't think Ruben's got a problem in handling Garnacho for a little bit. I just don't want him dealing with all of them together. You can imagine, if anyone who's done coaching and you've got problem players and you know that they're all mingling around and talking behind your back, it does affect the rest of the team. It does build a divide within the squad and it causes a massive problem. A massive problem. So let this happen. Get on with it and accept where we're at with these players. They're not going for the price that you want. Maybe it works better and Rashford becomes a more expensive asset if he goes to somewhere like Bayern Munich or Barcelona and does well. Just work on the loan and get the loan over the line and done, I think, is what United need to do right now. Start working towards what Ruben Amorim needs is the point. But Bayern Munich are 100% interested in Marcus Rashford, and that could really develop into something big for Manchester United now. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one and just check out everything on that, and I'll bring you up to date with all of the details on everything that's happening throughout the transfer window. Obviously now, with 2nd of July, we're expecting big things to happen now from this point. Ant with a super chat says, I think Garner and Sancho are the bigger problems. Oh, I couldn't say that. I think Rashford is a real problem at Man United. He's still top dog for me in terms of issues, and I get what you're saying. They're all a problem on their own, but I think Rashford still is the leader of the pack. He's been there the longest. He knows everything. He knows everybody at that football club. And he's the one that needs to be, I think that's the head of the snake there. Chop that off and everything else falls into place, I think. And then it is a big, big mark. Like what Ruben did last summer in getting rid of Rashford, last season in getting rid of Rashford, set the tone, I thought, for other players coming through. They got the Mr. Manchester United himself, Mr. Marcus Rashford, one of United's best and most hopeful prospects coming out of our academy, fails and is booted out of his boyhood club. That's the standard that we need to keep up. It's going to be really interesting how Ruben Amorim actually attacks that going into this summer and how he deals with pre-season as well. It really is. I'd have a bouncer on the door at Carrington, and if Rashford Sancho arrives, it gets them turned away and told they aren't on the list. Yeah, oh God, can you... I feel for Ruben, I really do. I don't want to be in that situation. Look, he'd give himself some time to think about everything, and he would have known that there was a chance that this might actually be happening, and there's a chance that Rashford and Sancho could roll back up, even Garnacho back into town, Anthony back into town as well. On top of that, you've got players that he clearly doesn't want in Rasmus Højlund and Andre Onana rolling in as well, and it's like, hang on a minute, like I thought we were making big changes here this season. Nothing's changed. Luckily, well, I hope so, and that's why it's so important that Bryan Mbeumo gets done this week. He'll have them two coming in, Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo as well, and that, I think, will just give the fan base enough time just to settle, and then maybe we can start like ticking these players off in terms of moving them on, getting them out of the bleeding door, because that's what needs to happen at Manchester United now. We need to start moving on these exits big time. If Garnacho wants Premier League, sell him to Villa and we buy Watkins. Maybe we could work something out there with them. If Rashford, Garnacho and Sancho aren't sold, then for me, banish them and ban them from the first team altogether. And for me, this should be a lesson for Mainu. Look, let's just see how Mainu actually adapts first of all. Like, we've called him out for what his agent has said in demanding more wages. Well, let's just see how he actually turns in and how he goes with Ruben really pushing to keep him and trying to change him into a different player. That's the problem I've got with the likes of Sancho, Garnacho and Rashford coming back. Like, you got Mainu wishing Garnacho a happy birthday. It's just normal stuff on social media. He's mates. These guys are still mates. You can't stop them being pally-pally. But if you've got one who is against the manager and one who isn't, then who is going to win? Negativity always overrides the positivity. Negativity spreads 20 times faster than positivity. You know it does. It takes one negative comment to override 10 positive comments when you're looking at reviews. Nobody looks at positives. Everybody looks at negatives. You naturally do it, don't you? And it only takes one bad egg to spread that negative vibe around the squad and cause a problem. He's his mate. You're not going to get Garnacho saying anything good. He's just going to fill Mainu's head with shit. And that's how it works. Look what happened with Sancho and Rashford. I mean, God, them two together. It's scary. Like the Legion of Bleeding Doom, them two, aren't they? God, it's it's a scenario and a situation that no manager wants to be dealing with. And you'd have thought a club like Man United would have dealt with that before. Anyway, don't forget, everyone, I have pinned up the link to where I get all my shirts from. This is a retro training top from Manchester United. There are loads, including new kits, clubs from all over Europe and everything on that website there. The link is in the live chat there. It's also in the description if you are watching later on. Go grab yourself one of them jerseys, one of them tops from all over the world. Absolute top quality. I've washed a few, I've worn a few at the same time now just to test them out. So anybody looking at buying a new top or getting a shirt, go check out that site. It's up there in the description and on the live chat now as well, everyone. So go and have a look at them. Some absolute bargains on there. I would be pretty sure that Amorim has spoken closely with Bruno, Dalot and Jose Mourinho about who's who. The place stinks at the moment. It does, Sel. All right, change your name then. I see it. Thank you for the super chat, mate. This may be controversial, Adam, but I would have also gotten rid of Mainu too. People forget his pay increase issues. He looked to be going down a Rashford road. That's the point I want to make. Let's just see exactly where we're actually at with Mainu going into this new season and see if he does change. Because that's what everyone's looking at right now and looking to see how he actually adapts and what happens with Mainu going in. But hey, on that one. Almost at 600 live likes, which is absolutely brilliant. So we're going to wrap things up there, everybody. Thank you so much for your participation in this morning's show. Absolute ball of a show. Love that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, mods, for running that chat as well. It has been busy. Thank you for all the super chats as well, everyone. Please hit that subscribe button as well. We're pushing at that 90k mark before the start of the season. We're getting ever closer. Thank you, everyone. Absolutely brilliant as always. Comments bang on points. Get into the comment section below when the live finishes as well, everyone. And I will see you all around about lunchtime if there's anything. I'll have it covered, and we're back live later on this evening as well. But anything could break at any time, so it's important that you subscribe and hit that notification button as well. It could just be in the next couple of hours that something breaks, and we'll have it covered for you. So